Well, very good morning, everybody. And yeah, welcome. Technology. You either love it or you hate it. Wherever your choice, I'm sure you get very frustrated by it. But the digital culture is here and here to stay. So why don't we embrace it for the benefit of the environment, mankind, and for future generations? I'm going to talk to you today about the Ark. This is not Noah's Ark. This is not where you lead in the animals 2 by 2. This is the Aberystwyth Robotics Club, where we introduce school children and undergraduates into the wonderful world of technology and robotics. So a little bit about me. I'm a technician. I work for Aberystwyth University, and I'm very lucky. I've got a rather unusual hobby. I build robots, which is great. I've got a background in engineering and electronics, and for me it all started in the mid-90s when I was involved with a television program show at the time called Robot Wars, when we used to take robots in and fight against each other. Great fun. Unfortunately, the television program finished, and my son, who was really into his robotics at the time, said, "Dad, can you make me a robot?" So the very first one that we ever had the opportunity of building was the K9 robot there. And after that, it got a little bit obsessive. And as you can see, 5 robots later, and I'm still building different fleets of robots for different people as well. But I've always been involved with engagement throughout my working life, bringing complicated scientific subjects to the members of the public in a way that they can understand in an ordinary way, in a way that we can bring in a planetarium to show the stars and the constellations and the planets, through to bringing in robotics. I was involved in bringing a robotics workshop into a secondary school in North Wales, and it was quite unusual because within that class we had a group of teenagers, typical teenagers, boys and girls, and the set of boys that we had, we've done this particular workshop before, it's dead easy, we just got to make something. We had a group of girls who were, well, yeah, I think we can do this, but I'd rather play with my mobile phone. And we had a group of girls as well that they'd done a little bit of work, but they were really scared about the technology and what they were going to do with it. So as the workshop progressed, what was happening is the dynamics completely changed. Towards the end, the boys that were really confident about this had completely not managed to get their robot working at the end of the day. The girls that were interested in their mobile phones and the applications with it, well, yeah, they got their robots working, and they managed to control it using their mobile phones. And the last bunch of girls that were involved in the workshop, not only had they got their own robots working, but they'd actually started having a mini robot wars competition and fighting against the robots, and were screaming around, jumping with joy. And it was that moment where you think, hang on, there's something here. The dynamics within that group had completely changed within that 2 hours. And we thought, there's something unusual about it and something special about this. So how can we bring something like this into our local community? So we went into 2 of our local secondary schools here in Aberystwyth to judge what the sort of feedback, judge the sort of amount of interest would be in starting something like a robotics club for children. Well, 6 years later, we are simply going from strength to strength. Nationally award-winning and very exciting moments happening within the club. We've got 3 sections within the club. We've got the beginners, the advanced, and now we have the undergraduate section within our club. The beginners are 12-year-old school children, boys and girls, who come in and they learn all about soldering, electronics, programming, computer-aided design, and computer design to build 3D printed objects to make their robots. Well, these are 12-year-olds. Once they've gained those skills, after the 2-year period, we move them up into the advanced group. So a 14-year-old will then get a particular project where they'll be able to sort of develop their own robots. I'll give you one example. One boy is currently working on a remote weather station where he can look at the weather forecast in his locality from his mobile phone. We've got another young boy who's currently working on looking at a badger set in his local garden, so he can monitor them remotely as well. And we've got our undergraduate club, which started 2 years ago, and they're going from success to success, which is delightful to see. And those students get a chance to get their hands on robots and get their hands dirty to find out what things are happening. But what always continues to surprise me is the ability of school children to adapt to new technology. I'll give you an example. We had an undergraduate class where over a period of 2 classes, they were given the opportunity to build up a small 2-wheeled robot. That 2-wheeled robot, it took 2 weeks to build, and they got it up and running and whatever. Good. So we thought, right, okay, can we adapt this to bring it down to the 12-year-old group and see how they get on with it? Exciting times. As I stand here, one of those 12-year-olds came up to me after 45 minutes and said, "Is that what I'm supposed to make?" The ability of the children never seems to surprise me, and it really is exciting. There's an old Chinese proverb which works on so many levels within so many spheres. Tell me and I'll forget. That applies to me more than anything else. Show me and I may remember. Involve me and I'll understand it. I'll understand the concept and I'll understand what's going on. Within the club, we have lots of children, and we try and inspire them to go and find out about different things. We give them engaging activities, challenge them to get the robots to do the different things, give them the confidence to let them explore for themselves. They've got the skills. Let's find out what they can do, but in a safe way. And let them be creative. These wonderful children have got fantastic imaginations. Let's give them the food and the energy to be able to develop their own particular robots. And don't be afraid to think outside the box, because some people may have other ideas that you think, okay, we can possibly try that and make it more engaging. We're very, very lucky in the club. We have members of staff who work for Aberystwyth University who are at the forefront of research, who spend their quality time coming down and helping out the school children with their particular research projects. Our undergraduate students, who are also involved with their own project within the Robotics Club, will then, on a Wednesday afternoon, come in and help out with the school children to develop their own robots. And it's a bit of a double-edged sword for them, because not only are they learning about the current technology, but they can also give that information to the school children, and it's also useful for them for their CVs, for their future development when they're going on to potential employers. They've got those experience in their toolbox which they can use for potential jobs. We also give the children the chance to be able to present their work to their peers, to the parents, and to other members of staff. We have a Christmas show and tell where all the children come along, and our undergraduates, and do a presentation on what they've been building over the last few months. One of the exciting things about it is watching a 12-year-old doing a presentation next to an undergraduate student. It really is quite incredible. We have the students will then do a presentation in Science Week, where they'll bring all their projects along and show those respective robots to all the students that attend Science Week. And Science Week can be attended by potentially 1,000 school children. And the premier exhibition for us in the year is Beach Lab, which is held on the last weekend of June every year. And we go down onto Aberystwyth Promenade, and we take our robots down, and we show to all the members of the public what the club is about and how we engage with society and the robots that we use for the benefit of the environment and for research. So we can bring small handheld robots, we can bring in a Mars rover, and we bring in an amphibious robot as well. So we try and give the public a whole cross-section of robots which are available. And last year, 4,500 people engaged with us as they walked along the promenade. So where's the future going as far as the club is concerned? Well, I'm very, very proud to say that school children who have been involved in the club have come through the system and have moved on to be able to study in their respective subjects and have done the degrees or moved on to further education. 3 of our individuals have gone through the system as well as their degrees and are now doing PhDs within their respective subjects. One of our section leaders, who is a student, is now a qualified teacher and is an inspirational teacher within her particular subject. And she has started out her own robotics club within her own school to introduce technology to her school children. 2 of our student leaders were also headhunted by a local manufacturing group, and they are now in the process of doing research and design for a local manufacturing company, which is very exciting. And one of our ex-PhD students, who's moved back to his home country, has now set up the first daughter club of Aberystwyth Robotics Club in Kabul in Iraq. And so they are using our online information to be able to develop a curriculum material for their children out in Iraq, which is exciting times ahead for them. But where's the technology going to take us? It's exciting, and it's also very, very scary. Where will the technology of the future be when the children of 12-year-olds are going to be my age? The technology of today could be the potential technology implant of tomorrow. It's an exciting times ahead. And the quality of what our children can give us today could benefit mankind for the future. Thank you.